Testament, a woman who had been sick for years pressed her way through a crowd just to reach Christ. She had spent everything she had trying to be healed, and nothing had worked. By the time she reached him, she was desperate with only one thing left to try. In the middle of the crowd, she reached forward and touched the edge of his clothing. Immediately, she was healed. Christ stopped. "Who touched me?" he asked. The disciples were confused. "Everyone is touching you, teacher," they said. Christ insisted. Someone had touched him, and virtue had gone out of him. Something living had moved from him into her. This moment clarifies what virtue is: the spirit of life inside a person. It is the part of us aligned with God that promotes, protects, and restores life. When virtue grows inside us, it shapes how we see people, how we respond to suffering, and what we will endure. And if that spirit stays alive in us, pressure can refine us. If it dies in us, experience will harden us. After the siege of Far West, Joseph Smith was imprisoned. When God spoke to him, he did not begin by promising rescue or explaining how long the suffering would last. Instead, he spoke to the prophet's thoughts and inner life. He spoke about virtue. "Let virtue garnish thy thoughts unceasingly. Then shall thy confidence wax strong in the presence of God. And the doctrine of the priesthood shall distill upon thy soul as the dews from heaven." God was not ignoring Joseph's suffering. He was protecting the only part of Joseph that prison could not touch. If virtue, the spirit of life, stayed alive inside Joseph, then the prison could confine his body without destroying who he was becoming. We see what this looks like in Richmond, where Joseph, Hiram, Parley Pratt, and others were first confined after arrest. Brother Pratt later described the experience in his autobiography. He said that the guards were often drunk and cruel, spending their nights boasting loudly about the terrible things they had done to the saints, how they had attacked their homes, hurt women and children, and driven families from their land. For hours, the guards continued their filthy and violent talk while the prisoners lay chained on the floor. The men felt sickened and powerless as they listened to such evil words. Then suddenly, the prophet rose to his feet. He could bear it no longer. With a voice filled with authority and power, he rebuked the guards, saying, "Silence, ye fiends of the infernal pit! In the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke you, and command you to be still. I will not live another minute and hear such language. Cease such talk, or you or I die this instant." Everyone in the room froze. Parley P. Pratt later wrote that Joseph's words were as the voice of God. The guards, who only moments before had been laughing and shouting, fell silent and trembled. None dared speak again. For the rest of the night, the room was still. "I have seen the ministers of justice," Parley wrote, "clothed in magisterial robes and criminals arraigned before them, while life was suspended upon a breath in the courts of England. I have witnessed a Congress in solemn session to give laws to nations. I have tried to conceive of kings, of royal courts, of thrones and crowns, and of emperors assembled to decide the fate of kingdoms. But dignity and majesty have I seen but once, as it stood in chains at midnight, in a dungeon, in an obscure village from Missouri." We live in a world where this battle against virtue is happening constantly, even though it rarely looks as obvious as it was as a prison in Richmond. The forces that drain the spirit of life out of us come through contempt, through bitterness, through systems and governments that teach us, little by little, that people are disposable, that evil is entertaining, and that dignity is optional. The danger is not only what happens around us. The larger danger is what we slowly become comfortable with inside ourselves. Building virtue within us is not one dramatic choice. It is something formed over time through patterns, through what we repeatedly allow to shape us and what we refuse to let define us. Honesty, compassion, discipline, reverence, responsibility, loyalty to what is good even when it is not rewarded, these are not personality traits. They are ways of building life inside us until it becomes harder to take from us. When life eventually does become uncertain, and it does for all of us in ways we rarely see coming, experience does not automatically become good simply because we survived it. Experience begins to do the work God intended it to do when the life inside us is still alive enough to let it shape us instead of hardening us. I pray we will recognize the voices and environments that try to virtue out of us, so that we build confidence in God and that He can build it in us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Who's got a test this morning? My gosh, teachers, what is the deal? I had a test tomorrow. Ooh. Who had a test yesterday? Yeah. All of you had a test yesterday. Come on. What'd you do? What did you do? What? Yeah. What did you think of that? It was what? Oh, Mrs. Cawley's here today. I can't talk bad about it. What did you think? Appreciated her.
She appreciated the interpretation.
Did you? That's where I had a problem. I said, how crazy can you get? Yeah.
Let's be safe today. So, no snow in the building, and if you're going to throw snow, it has to be away from the building, not towards the building.
Go find that cement patch out there. A lot of snow on it if you're the first one out there.